everybody, it's Romania Black, and we are on episode 7 of Gachiakuta, and I have been traveling the last week. It has been so great to be on vacation, but I'm not gonna lie, the moment we were flying back today, I was like, I really want to watch something, because I literally have not watched, I watched one episode with some friends of a show the whole week I was gone, and the rest of the week I was off TV, I was off my computer, it was great, but I was starting to have a little bit of withdrawals. And so now I'm like, as soon as I got home, I was like, I want to watch Gachiakuta because it's been a hot second. And we left on Jabber, who has been introduced, who has seemingly possibly killed Gris. Not happy about that. And our boy Rudo has to deal with him now to hopefully so he can get back to Zonka and save him. And it's a mess. It's a big old mess, but I'm super excited to get to it, so I hope you all are as well. So please, if you have not subscribed to the channel so you can see Gachiakuta with me every Friday, please do so. If you want to support my channel for free, subscribe, like the video, comment down below your thoughts. All those things help me with the yield algorithm. And I want to give a special shout out over to Patreon. First of all, Patreon is amazing. You all are awesome over there. Thank you so much for supporting my channel and helping me to watch these shows every week, and I super appreciate it. But the philanthropy tier on Patreon, they donate a couple extra bucks each month. It means a lot to me, and I want to give them a shout out for all of their kindness and generosity. So for Sunspots, Zachiel, username 123, Jason N, Alexander Q, Be Happy, Dana, Alex Cornejo, Violet Stardust, Beado B, Destiny Marie, Diana Williams, Daniel Devorin, Damage 3245, as well as Eric Ichu Show, Ghostly Turnup, and James, Jessica Cullen, Lyndon, Elfreya, Murphy, Nicholas, Poppy, Rose Jennison, Jack Witt, Rast, Sugamom, Shimuyama, as well as Translucent Men, Yanin, Zero Anti-Zero, Chewy, and Machua Her. Thank you so much. You all are amazing, and I really appreciate it. All of my love. But with that being said, I have been gone a week. I have been anticipating what's been going to happen to our boy, and so we need to not waste any more time. So we're going to get started looking at Gachiakuta episode 7, and we are going to be doing that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's do it to it. Okay. I don't want Gris to be dead. No. They gave you that ended very ominously. We're gonna go back to it. I mean, Gris looks like he's taking some serious damage, but they didn't do a death scene, and I was really expecting it to be a death scene, like he just goes, eh, and that's it, and then it shows everybody's crying. Everyone was very somber, this is serious. Gris is injured. He's probably, if he doesn't die, is going to take a long time to recover. So, but I wanted closure, and the episode was nah, you ain't getting no closure yet. So I'm you're gonna make me watch. That's how they hook you. They want you to watch the next episode. I get it now. I get how this all works. But anyway, so now we'll see if my dog keep playing with me or not. They were the whole time in the middle of this battle, Huckleberry's pet my stomach, you've been gone for a week. And I was not now. But wow, okay, so lots of interesting things going on in this episode. I'm glad that Jabber is going to be a reoccurring character. One of the commenters over on Patreon was oh, my daughter loves Jabber, and I was well, I don't think that they would say that if they were just a one-off character, right? If you only saw this character for 2 episodes, would they be your daughter's favorite? So I was okay, Jabber's not gonna be the end of him, but I thought it was interesting that this new character shows up. We had lots of new characters just appear, and I was okay, we'll see them again. We'll see who they are. One thing that I do kind of like is that this series subverts some shonen-esque tropes in ways that are really interesting and in ways that are really funny. And I really appreciate the show for how fresh it is because of it. And I want to talk about that. We've got some theories about the series, which we're going to talk about as well. And then, is Gris dead? I don't think Gris is dead. I think they would have shown him actually like breathing his last and then seeing his head like turn to the side and then everybody starts crying. Like I feel like we would have seen more reaction shots of everyone in that moment. And the fact that they didn't show us that makes me think that maybe Gris is like barely hanging on. Is he going to die next episode? I don't think so. I think that he might be down and out for the rest of the series. So, or the rest of this season at least. So we'll see what we get with that. But I want to talk about this episode with y'all and we can kind of run through it, which it was very interesting. So here in 3, 2, 1, I want to talk about this episode. We start out with Jabber, with our boy Jabber basically juicing himself up. I like the way that, because at first when Zonka showed up, which we'll talk about Zonka showing up, that was great. And then Engine's 28. I can simp for Engine and feel safe about it. With Zonka, with the whole thing about the claws, and one claw basically like sedates you or paralyzes you or numbs you. The other one is just like a painkiller. I kind of like that because at first whenever Zonka's like, oh, did you heal your injuries? I was like, I'm not ready for the show to get into that level of kooky. I mean, the idea that they're having instruments come to life to help them at least is tied to some spirituality in this world. It is at least tied to some kind of spiritual nature, so I can totally vibe with that. But I'm not ready for just outright magic to happen, and these instruments healing seems like outright magic, so I'm not ready for that. Now, the manhole cover and them just disappearing, that was some outright magic, and I was like, I was not ready for that. And I was like, oh, but we're going to talk about that. I was like, okay, all right, now we're getting into some weirdities, but I think that the manhole cover is her vital instrument and it lets her disappear or teleport. Vital instruments teleporting is crazy, but you know what? If it's tied to the vital instrument, it's tied to the world building. I'm here for it. I'll accept it. But that was like, oh, okay now. But we're not there yet. So yeah, but Jabber is a pretty big threat. And what I like about Jabber's character is that like this whole going into crazy mode is I'm 38. I'm at the age where if I was 16, I would have been like hyped up all about this. But I like the shonen battle stuff. I'm more into character development. I'm more into character work. Like the battle-esque stuff, it's cool. I enjoy looking at it, but I'm not like, oh my God, like hyped up with it too. I'm just too old for that. I know people say, oh, you're never too old for that. It's past my prime time to be into that, but it is cool. I think that it's interesting. I'm more invested in Jabber when they're not like this. I'm more invested in Jabber when they're trying to talk about like the series and the other stuff and why are they tracking down Rudo. Like I'm more into that part of it. The battle-esque scenes alone is just, I'm at an age where it's just past my prime for it. I'm not the target demographic, but that's okay. It's still really cool to look at. And the elements with Zonka and how Zonka and Rudo work together is what I like about the series and why it's so fresh compared to like other shonen anime that I saw when I was younger. Stuff that it does, I think, is really interesting. Folo, our boy Folo here is trying his best to help out with Gris, but it is not looking good. Like, that is not looking great at all. And Rudo's like, okay, I don't want to get them in the crossfire, which good. I'm glad that he was thinking about that. And he's like, what can I do? And honestly, he's like, it's not working. So what am I going to end up doing with this? I am wondering when he got hit with the claws. When did that happen? Because he didn't immediately, like, pass out. So when did that happen? I'm curious. Did it happen like when he was not paying attention and he came over here? Is that when it happened? And how did Rudo not notice when the claws hit him? Because I would think that he would have felt that. I don't know. That's interesting. Indeed. But yeah, anyway, regardless, he gets up and is going after Rudo. And Rudo's like, this freak really put himself into a fugue state with his own poison. What does fugue mean? A fugue state. Somebody else has looked this up. Okay, what does it mean to be in a fugue state? It is a rare psychiatric condition where a person experiences a sudden, unexpected wandering or travel accompanied by total amnesia for their identity or their past life. Okay. Interesting. Awesome. Well, I'm learning new things today from Science Direct. Okay, cool. I was like, he reached a flow state. Rudo obviously has learned what that is from Regto. Clearly. I was really excited that we would get more into Regto, and that didn't happen in this episode, more than what we got. So, he's like, how am I will say, I like that Jabber was smart enough to think of what to do. And he's like, I'm going to enter this fugue state and then go from there. But he also is smart enough to know like how to like numb the pain so he doesn't feel it with the one clause. And then also try to figure out like how to counter and get Rudo like injured. Like Jabber is not just a crazy villain of the week. He does have some layers to him which I think are interesting, and we didn't get any of his backstory, so we don't know anything about Jabber really, and his motivations and who he works for and what the whole thing with the Raiders are. So I thought that was exciting because that means that we get to find out later. And we build it up like the Raiders, the way that the one Raider is, because the other two Raiders that were kind of like picked off and we don't know we're assuming that the girl with the manhole cover picked them up to take them back. We assume that she did that. But we didn't really, they kind of came across as a little bit unhinged, and then Jabber comes across as a little bit unhinged. But the manhole cover girl, she seems totally chill. So that made me excited because I'm like, okay, because sometimes in shonen you get like a band of characters and they're all just crazies. They're like, we're the wild ones. They're like, we're the zany clowns, or like something like that. You think One Piece, you see that a lot, where it's like this band of characters has this trait, But I like that the Raiders aren't just a band of crazies. There's something else going on behind the surface with them, and they're kind of like an adjacent group to the cleaners, but they have a different agenda. So it's really cool world building, and I enjoy what it's setting up because I want to learn more. And then I like that Rudo says, is he a masochist? I love that Rudo's like, I learned a word once and it was masochist. And the thing is, he's like, is this guy what those other kids were saying I was? That's interesting. Because we back up to these brats who, grow up to be older brats in the series. They're the kids that have been pestering him. They're just when they were younger. And I think it's worth noting that they're like getting on to Rudo because he's not fighting back. Rudo, every time they cut to baby Rudo, little baby kid Rudo looks like a kicked kitten. And I want to adopt him and give him the biggest cat mansion in the world. Like, he just looks so adorable in this moment. And I want to adopt him immediately. But, Rudo's trying not to get in trouble. Regto's told him, just turn the other cheek. Don't get in a fuss. Don't get in a fight because you'll be targeted because your dad was a murderer. Lest we forget. But he has the gloves at this point. But the kids are like just beating him up and being the worst bullies imaginable. And Rudo is taking it because Regto has told him to not fight back. And the kids interpret it as he's a masochist. Now, speaking of which, with Regto, he is constantly doing research, writing things down, putting it in these notebooks, which the masked person who killed Regto wanted. I am at this point, like Theory Brain Romania is gearing up, like, what do we think about this? I'm thinking at this point, and obviously I don't want spoilers, we're going to find out as we go. I think Regto was doing some research into the world down below, into its connection with this world, into how the Spherites, like the inner workings. Regto is getting into some stuff that he probably shouldn't have. And maybe had connections to the ground. Maybe Regto had connections to the ground. Maybe Regto was feeding information to the ground from above about the Spherites. Maybe he was selling that information. Maybe he was trading it for items, and that's how he got the gloves. There's a whole lot you could theorize with this, but he's doing a lot of research. Why he's doing this research, we don't know. But then Rudo asks him, like, what's a masochist? And he's like a parent that's like, yeah, wait, what? Like, just like, what did you just say? Like, what are you talking about? Why would they call you a masochist? And I wanted more with that. And then they cut back to the battle, and I was like, every time they come back to Regto, I want to hear what he's going to say to Rudo, because I feel like, Rudo's been very informed by what Regto has told him, and I wanted more of it. And so Rudo's like, okay, so he's a masochist. He's a guy that likes to hurt himself. I don't know how to beat someone like that. I'm glad of how honest Rudo is, because Rudo's like, okay, how does this help? I love how Rudo's trying to figure out in the moment what he should do. And he's like, I don't have the information that's going to help me. So I don't know how to defeat this guy. So, and then luckily, okay, I think around that moment, that might have been when he got slashed and we just missed it. But then that's when, as all that was going down and he was climbing through, I think during all that is, okay, in this moment, he's going through, I think he might have sliced him around that point. And that's when he got hit with Zonka. I think it was around that time. Yeah, pretty sure. Yeah, one of these moments, I think, is when he slashed him. And that's when Zonka came through. And I really, honestly, was not expecting Zonka to be the one to come in at this moment. I thought it was going to be Injin, which Injin comes in later. We're not surprised. But I did not expect Zonka to be fighting back at this point. He's like, I feel sick. Dreadlocks, it takes some nerve to start playing with a weakling when you haven't beaten me proper. Knowing now that Zonka's like 17, this makes sense. This adds up. This seems appropriate. But I really like Zonka. Zonka came through this episode. And I feel like we're going to skip the OP, even though I love the OP. I feel like with Zonka being set out as Rudo's mentor, I feel like Injin did this because he knew it would be like this kid's helping this kid, but in turn it's going to help him as well. Like, whenever Injin put Zonka in charge of Rudo and being his mentor, I was under the assumption, before I figured out their ages, that Zonka was older than he actually is, and that he'd been around the block for a while, and that's why Injin made him his mentor. No! He made him his mentor because I think that one, Injin does trust Zonka and thinks he's one of the best ones with his instrument, the best handler of his instruments. But two, I think that, Zonka's got some growing up to do as well, and I think that it would help Zonka to grow up if he had someone to take under his wing. What's funny about it is it's kind of fresh in a way, because usually when the main character in an anime gets with a mentor figure, it's someone like Injin. Injin is like the Gojo, or he's like the Gojo of this series, or he's like the Kakashi of this series. He's the older, not old, but older character that's mentoring the main protagonist. But here, Zonka is kind of almost the same age as our protagonist, and Injin's like, yeah, just teach him the ropes. Go on, go do that. And I think it's kind of fun and fresh because Zonka is still young and learning alongside Rudo, but he's been in the game a little bit longer, to the point where Rudo can learn from him. And it's like, it's learning from your older peers. I like it a lot. And the way they battle in this episode, it was so entertaining. It was so engaging. I love this shot. I love how Zonka looks throughout this whole moment where he's like, okay. He's like, you got this talisman, got your vital instrument worked out. Great. Glad that was my job. Glad we got through that. He's like, but if, we need to test. Can I love the cleverness of Zonka being like, the poison's not fully wore off. I'm having trouble moving. It took me forever to get here. I was watching you battle from afar, being like, I'm coming, hold on. That was really funny. And he tells Rudo, my idea is that I'm going to attack you. I am going to try to hurt you. I'm going to be a hostile intent. And Griss's talisman is going to recognize that and thrust me away from you, and in turn thrust me into Jabber, and my attack against you will be my attack against him instead. And that'll let me propel and move around much faster than I would be able to normally. Genius! Love it! That's so clever. I love that. I love them working together. That line there where he's like, I'm thriving here. My roommate in college made me watch every episode of Jersey Shore against my will. And so because of that, it is now seeped into my DNA, unfortunately. But there's an episode of that series where the two main girl characters, they've been like day drinking all day and they're hungover the next morning. And the one girl's still trying to party. And she's like, we're having the time of our lives. And the other girl's like 3 steps behind her being like, I'm dying. like exactly like that. It's like one of the few funny moments that got me where she's like, I'm dying. He's like, I'm thriving here. Like it's said with the same cadence. I love it. And he's like, oh, by the way, you got your instrument working. I assume he realizes that by instrument working, it's not the talisman that's the instrument. It's, bringing out the full potential. And he's like, so he's triggered by hostile intent. He's like, well, how'd you know? He's like, oh, I've been watching for a while. I've been doing I like his version of doing analysis is like, hold on, I'm coming. That's really funny. I love that. He's like, let me strike you. And another was like, wait, what? He's like, let me hit you. And just this once. And if, I've got a plan. He's like, let me just strike you just this once. I think I know what's going to happen. It's going to work out for the both of us. And Rudo's like, what if it doesn't work? And he's like, well, remember that time that you flung shit on me? I loved that the whole time. It was like half Zonka's genius of how to fight, half Zonka trying his ingenuity of trying to like make best of the situation and work with the circumstances. And then part ways of, I want to get you back for slapping poo on my face. Please let me do this. Like, it was so funny. And it just, I've not seen a battle done like this before in an anime, which is really fresh and fun. I love it. He's like, you'll just have to suck it up if it doesn't work. I love that. And I love that Rudo is so used to, he kind of is like a copycat where he's, imprints upon things and sort of repeats it. Like he's imprinted a lot on Regto. Like with Regto, he's imprinted a lot on him. And he draws a lot of his motivations and his life lessons and the way he thinks and his ideologies from what Regto has taught him. But here, it's kind of like a monkey see, monkey do moment where Zonka's like, well, just suck it up if it doesn't work. And then Zonka's like, hey, this isn't fair. And Rudo's like, suck it up? It's great. I loved it. It was wonderful. He's like, just don't let him scratch you. You'll be wriggling on the ground. Those things piss me off. And then Rudo's like, suck it up? It's great. I love it. And he's like, not the right context. But yeah, and then when he actually hits him, Rudo's like, he's like, excuse me, were you legitimately trying to hit me? And he's like, I knew it was going to work. We were fine. It's so good. The fact that they're working together by him striking Rudo and trying to, he's like, we make such a good team. Time to lose, have a good old time. That is the face of a man that's like, this is either going to work to my advantage, I'm going to beat the snot out of Jabber, or I'm going to beat the snot out of you for getting shit on me. So it's going to be a great day either way. I love it. And Zonka looks great here. Just that shot of the two of them, the red and blue, it's such a tag team dynamic. I really love it. It's fantastic. So talking about the symbol and the series, the little rings I don't think have anything to do with it. I think it's the 3 O's on the glove. We will tie back to that here in just a second. But what a fun battle. I love it. He's like, you could be more gentle though. And Rudo's like, well, you are trying to hurt me. Yeah, love it. So everything was going well. And then frickin' it's Mr. Bad Attitude. I wonder if people ship Jabber and Zonka. I mean, do any of you all ship Jabber and Zonka? I feel like there's a ship for that, Mr. Bad Attitude. It's giving Mr. Refreshing from Haikyuu, where Oikawa calls Sugi Mr. Refreshing. It's giving that. It's reminding me of that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so Jabber, our poor boy, the moment he's like, I think it's over, I was so skeptical because I looked at the clock and we were only like 10 minutes into the episode. And I was like, over already? I was like, I don't know. That seems like a really early way to end the battle. Felt very much like, oh, sure, everything's fine. And then, he wakes up. But the talisman crumbling, I thought at first, when I saw the talisman crumbling, I got the impression, I didn't get the impression that Rudo had been stabbed. I got the impression that Gris was dead. My thought was, oh my God, Gris has died. And thus his vital instrument that is attached to him, that he has given a soul to, is now gone as well. That was my first thought. But it was really more to do with Rudo, I guess, being injured and it finally seeping in. Which, the fact that the poison took so long to seep in, good to know. Noteworthy. This is what got me. Like, Rudo was so sad that the talisman was broken because it was Gris's cherished object. Like, he was so upset. And I was like, Rudo, we established in a previous episode that he wanted to, like, save the trash and put it back together. Obviously, this is heartbreaking for him, which made me feel horrible. And the fact that he kept a hold of, like, the last little piece before he saw Gris again. Don't do that, show. Don't be doing that to us. It's not good. It's not fair. And he's like, I didn't do anything. And then he's like, is the weapons that he made on borrowed time? That's a good question. We don't really know. Episode 2, he beat those guys up so quickly with the weapons that he used. And then in the episode with Rio, he didn't, like, his weapons weren't acting properly, so he couldn't really gauge it. Are his objects on a timer that he gives vitalization to? These are things we're going to have to figure out. I just hate that Rudo thinks it's his fault. I hate that Rudo thinks it's his fault that Gris could possibly be dead. I hate that Rudo thinks it's his fault that the objects don't work. Or got destroyed. I don't like Rudo blaming himself. I don't like that at all. I'm like, I want our boy to not think that. And then he's like, what's with you? And that's when the poison kicks in, which sucks. And that's when he notices that he got slashed from behind. Oh, that sucks so much. Meanwhile, Jab nicks himself and numbs the pain so he can get up, which is a very convenient ability to have. He's like, I guess I did a great job while I was out. So he's like, I beat the shit out of you. And he's like, yeah, I numbed the pain. And I love that Zonka is such a very, like, 17-year-old, like, they can heal. And he's like, oh, man, no freaking way. We're not using real magic here until we get to the manhole cover. Yeah, no. I do appreciate that he's like, no, I'm still very much injured. That face that Zonka makes, like, I hate you. Like, you just took advantage of your own power and numbed your pain. Oh, it's great. Oh, that's such a face. And he's like, but I'm going to go grab this kid because that's my job. And so we find out that Jabber has built up some immunity. So 10 minutes is the most that poison affects him. And 30 minutes is the usual. So, of course, he stabs Zonka again, being like, you don't have immunity, so I'm going to knock you out while I take Rudo away. This part here, where, not the part where he's like smiling and is like, I'm here, buddy. Creepy. Nope, don't like that at all. But this shot here, there are some really good facial expressions in this episode. There are some shots that I was like, ooh, the mangaka did their good one. They did a big one on this one. That shot of Zonka, they can't speak and there's like drool coming out of their mouth and they're just like staring helplessly as Rudo's getting taken away. Oh, it's so good. It's top tier. It's such a good shot. I'm like, yes. Later, Mr. Bad Attitude. Oh, the shipping has been set up. Bar none. But I hate that for Zonka. Zonka's like, I came, I had a job to do. I was supposed to protect that kid and teach him, and I didn't get the job done. Like, he's probably going to think the engine's going to be mad at him, and that's going to make him feel worse. Speaking of engine, so whenever Jabber said they forgot the other two, he's like, you know who will pick him up soon enough. Okay, so at first I thought that Jabber was talking about Gris and Folo, but instead they were talking about the two other raiders, and you know who is the manhole cover raider that has that ability to teleport them out, like using a warp pipe? Maybe? And Rudo's like, shit, I can't move. And he's like, because of me, Gris, they're all... I hate that Rudo's blaming himself. He's like, damn it. That's a great shot. I really like that shot too. Again, this episode has some really, really good shots. And when we get to engine, oh, it's on. It's over. But yeah, these are some really good shots too. And so then I love the Jabber's like, wait a minute. Out of this building, I thought we were inside it. This shot here where Rio's like, did you hurt our friends? Did you hurt Zonka? Did you hurt Gris? Why you got Rudo there? She's like, oh, hell no. That is her look. And then this shot, engine just sticking it with the umbrella, Mary Poppins style. Hell yeah. Love that. Oh boy, you've made a real mess here. So we find out that these two, Tome, love Tome's design. I talked about her. I noticed her like a few episodes ago. Love Tome's design. Tome and the girl with the hat, they are cleaners. Or they are supports, I'm assuming. They are supports. Farmer Brown and Business Attire McGee over here, they have awesome designs. They are cleaners. Love that for them. And Engine is pissed. Looks like you need some cleaning. So yeah, so Jabber's like, oh ho ho. Here we are. I really like their designs. We're going to talk about them. He's like, so y'all just set up this cliche trap. Engine's pissed. He's like, I hate that we fell for this trap. I hate that it worked out. He's like, I hate that Rudo's put into danger. We don't know about Gris. And then, of course, if Tome hadn't found a phone in the nearby town to call for help. I love her. She looks like she's from Harvest Moon. She's like, Gris and the others might be down there. I love the Engine's like, don't worry, they're tougher than that, which is probably why he looked so grim at the end of the episode, because Gris looked pretty not good. So she's like, take some people and go save them. And so I guess maybe that one is a cleaner with the top hat. Maybe they're a cleaner. And then he's like, here I am all sad and broken and you're looking at me like trash. And he's like, careful or you're going to get me rock hard here. I mean, a masochist indeed. Our boy Jabber has a kink. And I love that all of them, they are not impressed. Engine's like, you've been fighting this weirdo this whole time. It's like, has he been talking filth around you, Rudo? That's not fair. Okay, Farmer Brown, love the design, love the hat, looks great. This character though, with like the like, I don't know if their hair is blue and two-toned, or if they have like clothing tied into the hair. I don't know if that's the case, but they have like the scars on their face, or maybe it's like just a birthmark. Love that. Love everything about, and the tie with the coat, love it. I want to learn more about them. I want to learn more about these two. We better be learning about them next episode because they look freaking cool. Love their designs. And I like that Farmer Brown here is all about the Nakama. We love to see it. Old Frankie boy over here. Love that. He's got, like, I got a lot of questions. Oh, but that shot from Engine where he's like, do you think you can mess with the cleaners and get away with it? Like, Engine's pissed. He's like, you come into our territory, you mess with our kids, you gotta answer to me. Like, that's such a look. I love it. Yep, he's like, you know, if I get locked up, I'm gonna have to cook out a jailbreak. I got orders of my own. He's like, I love that Jabber's like, I want to run away because you guys scare me, but I've got to bring Rudo back. He's like, so I'm kind of torn right now. I don't know what exactly to do. I can't just go back. He's like, this sucks. And then, see, he's like about to attack them, and the manhole cover comes out from behind him. And that's when he gets grabbed by, this girl has got guns. This girl, she's like, the arms, the biceps, like she's got a grip with the tattoos on her arms. Love that. And then she's got this manhole cover that I'm assuming is part of her ability. It's like her vital instrument. She's like, time's up. So Chthoni is her name. I'm in love already. Love her. She said, I said time's up. And Engine's like, well, damn it. Where'd that girl come from? And then he's like, piss off, it was getting good. The boss had a very big smile. Now, do we know who the boss is? No. But do we think that the boss having a smile is a good thing? No. Because at that moment, like, she's like, the boss had a smile, a big smile. The look on, yeah, that is not the look of, that's not a big smile. That's not Jabber being excited about that. That's Jabber being like, oh, that's not good. The boss smiling is a bad thing. That means somebody's going to get hurt probably. No, we don't need to be doing that. No. Yeah, that's not a look of good things. And then, yeah, I love the tattoos. I want to learn more. Yeah, Manhole Girl's like, we gotta go. Like, the boss is not happy. So, I'm so intrigued. I love her design already. I'm so intrigued. Yeah. So he's like, well, whoopsie daisy. Guess it's gotten pretty late, huh? Guess we're gonna have to go. Like, she's got some freaking ripped arms. Yep, gotta run. This is Vital Instrument. Okay. I'm assuming it's a vital instrument. I'm assuming her manhole cover lets her teleport. I mean, normally I would call shenanigans. But you know, we have a girl that has a pair of scissors that can become ginormous and just turn back into it like nothing happened. I'm okay with that. Yeah. You've got some pretty good game for a spherite. And honestly, whenever Rudo tells him, like, you're an asshole, this isn't over, I'm sure that Jabber's like, how did you react to my poison, like, so quickly? Like, what is that about? Because most people can't. He's like, you're still awake after Jab. And he's like, until I pay you back with interest for what you did to Gris. I'm not going to let this end. And of course, you know, Jabber's like, whatever, sure, come back. I'm all about pain, so sure. And then he notices the gloves, the pattern. So the pattern is not the ring. The pattern is the 3 shapes, the 3 that are under it, like the kind of looks like a, you know, nuclear symbol. You've got something from that series 2. He says 2. So that means that either he or someone else has something from the same series. And he's like, what are you talking about, series? Now, Rio has a look of series. Engine has a look of, oh, I know what you're talking about, and now is not the time to be giving out that exposition. Rio's kind of like, I don't know what he's talking about. Engine's like, I know what he's talking about, but we're going to save that for a new episode. He's like, what a cool coincidence. The boss will be so happy to hear it. Now, I think with the whole series thing, Jabber collects lots of things, and we've seen, like, from his lair, he has a collection of junk and everything as well. Do we think that the boss, whoever the boss is, has similar gear to Rudo? Possibly. Do we think that maybe Regto might have gotten the gloves from the boss or someone else similar? Maybe. You know what would be crazy? If their boss and the boss for the cleaners was the same person, was both the masked figure. That would be hilarious, but I don't think it is. But yeah, interesting. So there's some connection there. Meanwhile, she's like, bye. And he's like, gotta go. I'll come better prepared next time. Take care of those things so you can play again. And then they leave, and then the manhole cover just, like, vanishes. And that's it. And I love that they're all like, okay. I like that they're even like, I don't know how that works, how those physics work, but okay. Interesting. They disappeared, and Rudo's like, what does this mean by series? The mystery deepens. So then we have the aftermath of all this. I like the graffiti that says drop. This part here, I love that shot. Again, there's some really, really cool scenes in here. Zonka, like, getting debriefed of what happened from Rio is really cool. I like her kind of going over and explaining everything that's happened. Love the way that they shoot them there. And then the whole thing with, like nobody looks happy. This is not good. Like, Folo is freaked out. Tome doesn't look good. Engine doesn't look good about all this. Nobody looks... And then poor Rudo. Poor Rudo! Like, I don't want Rudo to think that he's responsible for any of this, honestly. That does not look great. That does not look great at all. I mean, he looks stabilized, but that's a lot of blood. And the blood around his mouth and everything. Why is he still hot, even after all that suffering? But yeah, poor Rudo. I feel so bad for him. He's like, I wrecked your talisman. He looks angelic. I hate it. He's like, I cared a lot about that thing. And if it managed to help you out, then that's great. Oh, our poor boy. Like, Rudo does not know what to do with, like, these emotions, with this conversation. Rudo doesn't know what to do about all this. He's lost Regto, and now someone else that cares about him is, you know, not blaming him for what's happened, and that wrecks him too. Now, the stuff wiping away into the wind, you would think, when he says you did great, Rudo, you would think that that means he's gonna die. But I'm so used to seeing, like, in the anime where they cut to everyone's faces and they're all crying and stuff from him dying. I'm used to seeing that, so I'm like, so what do we do with that? Is he dead or not? Damn it! We're just going to find out. I may have to go ahead. Next week is the rule of 8. So I mean, which granted, this series has more than 12 episodes. So the rule of 8 usually only applies to like an 11 to 13 episode season or series, but 8's my lucky number. So we might just have to see what ends up happening with that. But I need to know. So I'm going to at least wait and see what some of the comments I can read here in a few days. And then I may have to go ahead and watch episode 8 because I don't think I'm going to be able to wait to find out what's going to happen. So, but yes, lots of questions, lots of theories. Like, what are the series? Jabber, who are they working for? Who are the Raiders working for? Why do they want Rudo? I feel like Regto's involved somehow, especially because Regto gave the gloves to Rudo. Did Regto get the gloves from the Raiders? How does that work? Is the person who killed Regto a Raider, or is it their boss of the cleaners? Because we theorized about that. There's a lot of theories and a lot of things, but I know for certain that I feel so bad for Rudo. I don't want him to blame himself for hurting people, and he definitely is, and that makes my heart break for him. And I really liked the way that the fights were handled in this episode. It was really, really neat. So, anyway, we're just going to have to see next week. We're just having to see, and I don't think I'm going to be able to wait, but I'm very curious to know what your thoughts are down below. So please let me know what you thought of this episode, what you think of all this. Please no spoilers or spoiler tag if you want. Please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel if you want to see me talk about Gachiakuta every Friday until we're caught up. And in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back very soon because I cannot wait to talk more about Gachiakuta, and I'll see you then.